Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 115 of the Sim Racing Show. And this week, the battle for PlayStation Sim Racing may have just begun because Moza has just made a huge move into the Gran Turismo ecosystem, putting it directly on a collision course with Fanatec. So is this the start of the biggest hardware rivalry we've seen in years, maybe ever? We'll break it down in just a second, but Moza has also unveiled a brand new motion system and an upgraded entry-level bundle. SimLab has entered the direct drive wheelbase market with an incredible 39 Nm monster, and Project Motor Racing has made one of the biggest leadership changes since the studio was founded. So what does it mean for sim racers? Let's get into this week's news. Now, Moza Racing has just become an official peripheral partner of the Gran Turismo World Series, and this could be a massive moment for Gran Turismo players because as part of the deal, Moza is also working with Polyphony Digital on a new steering wheel controller that will be natively supporting Gran Turismo 7. And that's the key part here. Moza already makes loads of sim racing hardware, direct drive wheelbases, active pedals, motion systems now. But this is a first sign that Moza is properly stepping into the Gran Turismo and obviously PlayStation ecosystem. Now, Kazunori Yamauchi praised Moza's motor control technology and reliability and said he was excited about developing a wheel specifically optimized for Gran Turismo. So the obvious question is, are we finally about to get a proper Moza Gran Turismo wheel? Now, we don't have the exact product details yet. We don't know the price. We don't know the torque. We don't know the bundle. We don't know if this is a full PlayStation compatible ecosystem play. But the direction is very clear. Moza wants a seat at the Gran Turismo table, and that's huge because for years, PlayStation sim racing hardware has basically been a much smaller fight and much less competitive than PC. Fanatec, Logitech, Thrustmaster, and Turtle Beach, and that was mostly it. If Moza now enters that space properly, Gran Turismo players are finally going to get more competition. Now let me know in the comments, would you buy a Moza wheel for Gran Turismo 7 if it was officially supported, or are you already locked into Fanatec, Logitech or Thrustmaster? But this announcement immediately created another question: what does this mean for Fanatec? And Polyphony has now made that part a little bit clearer because a day later there was a separate statement that seems to have some Fanatec involvement, and it says that Fanatec is still staying as the official steering wheel partner of the Gran Turismo World Series, not pedal partner, not wheelbase partner. But despite Moza coming in as an official peripheral partner, Fanatec's live event role is not disappearing. Fanatec's equipment, as we understand it, is still going to be used by competitors at the Singapore round in October and the World Finals in Tokyo in December. But this is where people are still a bit confused because the wording is very specific. Fanatec is the official steering wheel partner. Moza is an official peripheral partner. Peripheral is wider than steering wheels, and Moza is also developing a Gran Turismo wheel with Polyphony. So it doesn't look like Moza has replaced Fanatec immediately. It looks like Gran Turismo has opened the door to more than one hardware partner at one time. And to be honest, that might be the most interesting thing about this, because if Gran Turismo starts supporting more official hardware ecosystems properly, that's a very good thing for players. And it could be really interesting in the esports scene. Imagine if the esports players can choose an officially supported Fanatec wheel or officially supported Moza peripherals. Now, speaking of hardware brands moving into new territory, SimLab have just revealed their first direct drive wheelbase. I say revealed, it's been there for a long time. I've flown to SimLab over a year ago and tried it myself behind closed doors, but now they're about to go on to sell. But before we get into new hardware, a big thank you to today's sponsor of the Sim Racing Show, which is ASETEK Racing, because ASETEK is going very hard at the moment with Initium, which is its bundle, its platform that kind of evolves with the racing you want to do. They do a bundle that's $599 with a 5.5 Nm direct drive wheelbase, steering wheel and a set of pedals. However, that is upgradable. I've put a hydraulic brake on mine. I've put a clutch pedal on mine. You can also boost the wheelbase. You'll also be able to use more wheels in the future as well. So ASETEK are going big with Initium, and it's something probably a lot more people should be aware of when you're thinking about your first sim racing bundle, if you're thinking you might upgrade in the future. So big thank you to ASETEK Racing for sponsoring the Sim Racing Show. Now, SimLab unveiled the DDS TorqueSync, DD26 and DD39. They've had a name change from DDX, and these are SimLab's first wheelbases, and they're not going for beginner entry level at all. They're going straight for high end, ultra end. It's kind of SimLab saying we make serious rigs, now we want to make serious wheelbases. They've put out a load of numbers like 100 kilohertz torque control loop, 24-bit encoder, and an integrated 1500 watt power supply. That's getting a lot of people worried about having that much wattage, not even in an external brick, but built into the unit. And it's one of the details that's splitting people, because on the one hand, yes, the base is very big, but it does contain the PSU. Now that means that you can't easily mount a monitor behind your wheelbase, like I often have on my wheelbases there. You can see there's a monitor behind that wheelbase. And also, what happens if your PSU goes wrong, if it has an issue? Do you have to send your whole unit off to be replaced or repaired, rather than getting a replacement PSU in the post? But SimLab seems to be doing it for reasons of future-proofing and kind of having headroom with their wheelbase. They've also added USB data pass-through for third-party wheels, and they've got a new zero-play quick release. So it's clearly aimed at high-end sim racers who already have expensive wheels and do not want to be locked into one closed ecosystem. But the pricing is very high, and ultimately, is it going to be better than that, which is a SimuCube 2 Pro? I did a blind test of this wheelbase and the brand new SimLab DDS wheelbases, and you have to watch my video if you want to know my honest thoughts, blindfolded, on what I thought of each base. And let me know in the comments, is 39 Newton meters just way too much and way too dangerous for a sim racing wheelbase? Now, while SimLab is attacking the high-end wheelbase market, Moza has been busy launching some high-end equipment of their own. They've just released the HMA 150. It's a 4-actuator motion system priced at $2,999, basically $3,000. It's a 3 DOF system, so it recreates pitch, roll, and heave with up to 150mm travel, 300mm second speed, and more than 1G of acceleration. Moza say that the 4 actuators can support up to 350 kg, which should mean that it should work with some pretty serious rigs, and it's controlled through Moza's new Motion Manager software. There's also an AI motion feature designed to generate motion in games that don't have native telemetry support, which I haven't tried yet, but I have tried the motion. In fact, we've had it for months and I've been using it for a long time now, and it's pretty good. I think the advantage for me of having motion that I can set up is that I'm not going to set it up in a crazy way. I set it up in a very balanced way. So the Moza bundle is something to be aware of. It's very expensive for $3,000, but it is a real bargain when it comes to motion, and Moza, I think, have done quite a good job here, as they seem to be doing a lot. And that's not all Moza's done. They've also launched for $399 a new and upgraded version of one of the most popular entry-level direct drive packages in the world. It's called the R5 Pro. It's not a wheelbase on its own. For $399, it's a 6 Nm R5 Pro wheelbase and an ES Lite steering wheel and SRP2 Lite throttle and brake pedals, not load cell. Now, it comes with a table clamp, but this is Windows PC only. This is not console as far as I understand it. It's not like the R3 on Xbox, and I don't think it's going to be PlayStation compatible for the future. But to be honest, I don't really know. Maybe they're doing something secret. There's a 21-bit encoder in there, by the way, and they say they've got Moza's next-gen force feedback algorithm 5.0. And that seems to be Moza's wider strategy right now. Attack absolutely everything on all fronts. Gran Turismo on one end, motion on the other, entry-level bundle here. Like, Moza just keep coming. So let me know what you think of Moza right now in terms of what they're doing. Are they doing too much? Now, Project Motor Racing has had a major leadership change. Kevin Boland has replaced Ian Bell as CEO of Straight 4 Studios, a developer behind Project Motor Racing. This is massive news if you remember the launch of Project Motor Racing, which we covered extensively here and was a very rough launch, and I called it out as a rough launch. Now, Boland was previously the studio's chief development officer, and he takes over immediately, with Straight 4 saying the focus is still on delivering the roadmap and improving the player experience. It's becoming clear that Project Motor Racing came out about a year too early, but maybe it needed to for them to get funds into the project. Now, Ian Bell was basically the face of the whole thing. He founded the studio after leaving EA. He brought together a team with former Project Cars developers. He's helped secure the publishing deal with Giant, and he was central to promoting Project Motor Racing before launch. But the problem was obvious. The game did not launch in the state that he promised. Project Motor Racing arrived unfinished. The studio later had brutal staff cuts from what we could see, and the remaining team has been trying to rebuild both the game and the community trust ever since. And that's exactly why the reaction to this leadership change is so sharp. A lot of people see Ian Bell stepping aside as a good thing, but so many people are still so burned by the launch, they don't really care who the CEO is until the game itself proves it has changed. Now, there is also someone else who's joined Project Motor Racing team, and that's Aris, from ASETEK Corsa fame, and we will be speaking to Aris on the sim racing show coming up. So if you have any questions for Aris and the Project Motor Racing team, put it in the comments and I will put it to them. Now, Project Motor Racing doesn't, in my opinion, need a lot more big promises. It needs consistent updates, better driving, better stability, and a better reason for people who refunded it or ignored it at launch or just put it to one side to take it seriously again. So that's been the Sim Racing Show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Spotify for this, and I'll see you next week.